Good evening. A new Premier League season is upon us, and tonight I am speaking to a fan of the three promoted clubs who came up: Burnley, Sheffield United, and, of course, Luton Town. And with there being a new season, there's got to be a new intro. Enjoy this, guys.
Give me all you've got if you're prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees, and I may fall as I'm so close to the end.
There you go. What a way to kickstart the Premier League videos as well. But yes, tonight we will be speaking to a fan of all three promoted clubs and see how their season is going. Talk about their incomings as well, and just talk a little bit about their last season as well. And also we will get a prediction of where they think that they will finish. So, without further ado, we will get them on. Do remember to hit the like button. Do remember to hit that subscribe button if you are new and if you enjoy this content as well. And also hit that notifications bell as you get notified every time an upload or a live stream comes on to this channel. So, we will begin and we will introduce. So, we will obviously start with the winners of the Championship. Now, my guest tonight, you can kind of cross them between Ed Sheeran and John Hartson. I'll let you guys decide which one that will be. Good evening, Mr. Daniel Moorhouse. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. I was trying not to smile when you was like, "Oh, the winners of the Championship." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, 21st best team in English football. I'll still take that." But no, I appreciate you asking me on, and good to be back.
I know it has been a while. It's been a while since you've been on, actually. It was probably one of the Prem prediction shows last season, I think, was the last thing you were on. But yeah, how are you feeling? Anyway, you're back in the Premier League. How does it feel?
It was almost like final whistle went at Ewood Park last season, let's say, and it was confirmed. I mean, to do it in their backyard was something. And it was almost like you enjoyed that. Of course you did. And then came the thing of, yeah, we're back in the Prem. I'm actually quite going to miss the Championship, to be fair. It's such a competitive league. When the ball hits the back of the net, you celebrate. There's no qualms there. And that's the one thing that I'm not looking forward to in next season. VAR is back. So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you finished first. We will now introduce my second guest, the runners-up of the Championship. And to... let's just say a team that is managed by Paul Heckingbottom. Now, if you don't know who Paul Heckingbottom is, he was actually the manager who actually took over from Chris Wilder. And fair play to Sheffield United, they kept with him and they managed to get him on. But let me introduce my guest, Mr. Ollie from the Sheffield United way. Welcome back to the Premier League, my friend. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm not bad, thank you, mate. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. Much appreciate it. It feels nice to be doing a Premier League show. There is something that just feels nice about that. I started my first videos were when we were in the Premier League last time. I then had to watch us be awful. So it's quite nice to have had a nice season. We got to enjoy it. And yeah, it's nice to be back. Just looking forward to it. Again, share Dan's concerns about VAR. We had it a little bit last season in that FA Cup run, and it's just soul destroying. So yeah, we'll just try and avoid that.
Yeah. So I will try my best not to obviously talk about VAR tonight. But yeah, how are you feeling? Coming back up.
Yeah, it feels good. Obviously, a couple of seasons away, we had one very poor start just after relegation. And so I think it's nice to have actually been able to say we got better. You know, We saw us go through that real down period. We recovered from it. We feel as though we've got a real identity again. We're a bit more like the team. We all know that Sheffield United can be. So, yeah, it's nice. And, we've had some good news in the last couple of days, some signings, somebody potentially signing a new contract. And so, yeah, you get positive me today. If we'd had this call last week, it might have been a very different picture.
yes. But no, it's great. It's great to get you on. And we will introduce my third guest now. This is their first ever time in the Premier League. And it is just a wonderful, wonderful story from non-league right up to League Two, right up to League One, right up to the Championship, stayed in the Championship for most of their years. They finally go over that hurdle of going to the playoffs. Welcome to the channel, Mr. Tyler from T-Boys TV. Luton Town, welcome to the Premier League. How does it feel to be Premier League?
Like I said to you lot before we went on, it still hasn't sunk in for me. I thought when the fixtures would come out, that would be the time. It still hasn't. So for me, it's going to be when the ball's kicked against Brighton. That's when it's going to kick off for me, and officially we're there. Or even when we see the shirts, because we know we like to delay the shirts, as you lot know. So it might even be then. But thank you for bringing me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. Has it actually sunk in that you're in the big time now? No. It's just, like I said, it's when the shirts come out for me, or when the ball's kicked, whenever the shirts eventually come out. But I knew it'd be a matter of time before we were there, but because of the way we were just progressing, year upon year. But I didn't expect it to be this quickly, to be honest. So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, do remember to like the video and also do subscribe as well. Also, do follow all three of my guests. The channel links are in the description as well, so please do go and check them out. But I will get into the live chat. Good evening, Luca. Hope you are well. Good evening, Steve, as well. Hello, Diz. Stephen C says definitely Ed for Dan. Diz Dane says Simon Pegg, awesome guest. Evening, Douglas and panel. Evening, panel. Hope you are well. Evening, Nate. Hope you are good. And Stephen C says our story has been like a fairy tale. Well, I think he may be speaking now about Luton Town as well. Right, Dan. Last season, you obviously were relegated straight back down to the Championship. Vincent Kompany comes in. And a lot of changes were made. The style of football was changed a lot as well. At the time when I last spoke to you, were your expectations to get straight back up immediately, or get into the playoffs, or just have a sort of a season where you can just sort of be in like a top half finish? What were your expectations at the start of last season?
What I would have happily snapped your hand off for was obviously coming straight back up. What we got was that, but realistically, I thought with the amount of players that we lost in terms of the keeper at the back, it just Ben Mee, Tarkowski, and Nick Pope, that back three have been solid. If you mention those three players, people know them as Burnley. That's it. Yeah. So to lose that solid back three in that sort of sense was gut wrenching. It was almost like, where do we go from here? Then you lose your attacking players in terms of McNeil, Cornet's gone, and you're just thinking, what? You're almost like asking the questions. We're not usually a team that delves into the foreign market. We're not a team that, I don't know. We're sort of just happy with plucking that gem from the Championship and hoping that it pays off, or from League One, etc. And just the turnaround was something that you couldn't even expect. I don't even think Vincent Kompany expected it. When he came on as manager, I think he came out and said that he's got a 2 to 3 year plan to bring in some young players, fingers crossed, nurture them, get used to the way of English football, and eventually get back to the Premier League. Like I said, this just turnaround of everything, the infrastructure of the club, the transfers, going into the foreign market, just everything has changed very, very quickly. a lot of the diehards that have been there that are now, walking around with their sandwiches in a bag, flask, and a towel over their legs in the winter months, they weren't happy. I mean, Shrewsbury pre-season, you hear all the old fogies going, "Knock it long, what's you playing at?" Like I said, we're not that same team anymore, and it's been such a joy to watch. Such a joy to watch. I'll even say that the defeat against Sheffield United at Bramall Lane was a joy to watch as well, just because, especially for Ollie. But yeah, I think that the season on a whole was just something remarkable. A fairy tale, really, if you want to put it that way, in the way it ended. Like I said, winning the league at Ewood Park. They might have a Premier League to the title and go on about 1995, but none of them can turn around and say, "Hold on a minute, did you win a title in your rival's backyard? Did you ever do that?" No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You just had an owner that liked to buy the division. Don't worry. The PSG, the Championship, as all these teams get that come down and spend money. But we didn't even break 30 million, last season. That's another thing. The amount of money we spent, people going, "Oh, you're spending parachute money." And we're just thinking, hold on a minute. If we do get promoted, that parachute money goes to you and all the other clubs anyway. So what are you worrying about? We can't spend something we don't have yet. So yeah, there's a bit of, tediousness from other clubs, but like I say, I'm just enjoying it, riding the wave. Today's been a heavy day for some transfer links. I will tell you that. And it's looking like we're just awaiting an announcement on a certain Mr. James Trafford from Manchester City. It's hopefully in the next day or so. So that should be announced. But there's an interesting Swiss wonder kid looking like he's set to join us as well, from FC Basel. I forgot what he's called. In fact, I did have it up because I decided to edit a picture of myself saying, "Should I dig out my Swiss outfit?"
I saw that before it came on. I was like, "What is he doing?"
But yeah, we're apparently going for somebody called Zeki Amdouni. He was very highly rated in the under-21s Euros, and I think he made the actual striker of the tournament as well. So it seems we're linked with every player that's worth 15 million though at the moment. So that's one thing that's bugging me. But yeah, let's just hope there's still a few weeks left for the season to come, and obviously the transfer window is still very much open. Just all positive signs at the moment. Can't smile wide enough.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, I mean, winning a league at Ewood Park, I mean, that has just, like, Blackburn fans, yes, I know you can say, yes, you won the title at Anfield, but you will get the feeling of, yeah, Burnley have won it in our backyard, and they're never going to let us ever forget that. And it actually now looks like, apparently, I did read, apparently Jon Dahl Tomasson might be quitting as well. So just goes from bad to worse for Blackburn.
Trust me, it's amazing to see. Amazing to see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think everybody here would say the same. I think Tyler would say the same about Watford. Ollie would say the same about the unwashed round the corner. So obviously, we don't want them to do a Bury or a Darlington, because then there's no rivalry there then. But to see them suffer, I mean, yeah, that's just, icing on the cake. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheffield United, Ollie, though, it has taken you sort of, 2 seasons to get back up. I have to applaud Sheffield United because they could have easily got rid of Paul Heckingbottom, but they've managed to obviously stick with him, and fair play, you have now managed to get back into the Premier League. What were your expectations at the start of last season?
Yeah, it's a funny one because obviously we have had a period since Chris Wilder with a different manager. We had Slavisa Jokanovic just for a little while at our start in the Championship. But then, since Heki's come in, generally speaking, we've been a good team. We got us into the playoffs last year, albeit that we didn't win them. We had a really, really, really frustrating night away at Notts Forest. But it's fine. I'm over it now. We got promoted again since then. But this season was really hard to predict because we started it fantastically, you know, by sort of the World Cup break. Us and Burnley had already started pulling away a little bit, and we'd had a really good run up till that point. But then we came back from the World Cup and we had the news about being in a transfer embargo. We had news about not being able to pay transfer fees and things like that. And so I think it was a really interesting, almost case study our season, in that at the start of the season, people kind of said, probably playoffs. We're aiming for the playoffs again.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we can get top 2, but probably playoffs. We were in such a good position at Christmas that everybody was like, this is amazing. What a fantastic season we're having. Then the news hit about the embargo, and that hope and like enjoyment turned to desperation of, please don't throw this away. If we throw this away, then we're in a right mess. So no, I think it was a weird season, but ultimately an absolutely unbelievable season. I think we got more points last season than we got under Wilder when we went up last time. Just a really, really impressive season. Some fantastic runs of form. And we got to see arguably the best player I've ever seen in a Sheffield United shirt in Illiman and Dye absolutely tear it up. So yeah, all things considered, a very good season for Sheffield United last year.
Yeah, definitely. And to be fair as well, you did actually have a good wee cup run as well.
We did, and the cup run, yeah, it was a weird run, and I got slaughtered for saying this on our podcast. They absolutely rinsed me for it, but I'm going to stand by it. If you'd have said to me when we went to Wrexham away in the 3rd round, you'll probably lose 1-0 and they'll stick it on Disney Plus. Yeah, all right, whatever. Don't really matter. I'm not bothered about a cup run this year. Then we played them at Bramall Lane and it became a bit more, no, we've got to beat these now. They've got a bit big time. Let's make sure we beat these. But we can lose to Tottenham in the next round. Don't worry about it. And then we beat Tottenham. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, no, we're going to win the cup. Actually, forget about all of that other stuff. Let's go and win the cup. So, yeah, it was fantastic. Obviously, Dan experienced the same as us with when you play Manchester City. It turns out they're actually quite good. You go up and you play against them and you think, oh, we're an all right team. No, not in comparison. No, we're not. But we had some fantastic nights. We got to beat Blackburn, knock them out in the quarters with Tommy Doyle scoring an absolute world.
Yeah, I watched that game. It was an absolute screamer.
Absolute screamer. And I think that really was... That's one of the best games, just as a pure game of football and 90 minutes, up there with the best I've ever been to in terms of the atmosphere at Bramall Lane, winning it to go to Wembley, winning it in the way we ddid. So, yeah, a fantastic season in the league and a really, really good cup run that I just didn't want. And I'm so glad we got.
I can definitely imagine that. But, look, I think you're absolutely right when you say that, you and Burnley were the two that literally just completely, almost literally, like, basically went ahead, and then everyone was sort of catching up. It was very, very good to watch. And yeah, there was at a time a little bit of a time as a sort of a title race, but obviously we saw that Burnley sort of took over that, and it's interesting as well when Reading went down. Like, Reading were actually celebrating the fact that they've still got the points record as well. So hilarious. Yeah, and they've gone down as well. But not so many good seasons are for Luton Town, though, Tyler. I mean, what were your expectations at the start of the season? Because we remember that season, that 21-22 season, and Luton actually had a very, very good season. They actually got into the playoffs again. As well, at this time, obviously being more successful. But were you thinking that you would have another playoff push last season?
Yes, I thought so. Something I looked at, and I took into account was we finished higher and higher each season. It links to what I said before we came on, with the sense where we just keep progressing and progressing. So I thought it'd be a matter of time until we were actually in the Premier League. I just didn't expect it to be as soon as it has. I actually said 4th and win the playoffs. That was actually what I said, predicted at the start of the season. So when you look at that, if we're to finish 3rd and win the playoffs, that's even better than what I predicted. So I just thought we'd be in there. A massive reason I thought we would as well is because of the squad depth we've done, especially up front. We were quite reliant in that 21-22 season on Elijah Adebayo, but now, we brought in Morris, Woodrow, who's not quite hit the heights that we thought, but he's still coming clutch in some games. You look at the Norwich game, he scored the winner. He has scored some vital goals still. Looking at that, I thought that would be a main reason why we'd be there, because of the threat we can possess, especially up front. I thought we'd be up there yet again, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously a lot of good things about obviously Luton Town with some of the players. Obviously, I can obviously look at Alan Campbell. I remember him obviously Mullable. I thought he was a very, very good player as well. Forgive me, the name is Mpanzu, the one that's gone from non-league to the Premier League. That is just that is just an amazing story. You have a player that goes from non-league to the Premier League. It's just fast. It's just absolutely fantastic. Fantastic as well. But how are you feeling after the Coventry game? Because had it officially sunk in that you were Premier League? Because I think that game in particular, I watched that game, and look, Luton I thought played very, very well in the first half. I thought Coventry came back into it in the second half. But we all know that extra time can be very, very difficult as well, and it was very, very difficult. But when it came to the penalties, were you confident that you were going to get up?
To be honest, even though you're there, your nerves can kick in, that sort of thing. Even when they equalised, I felt we were going to win the game. But like I said, It links to what I said at the start of the season. I felt it's written for us to do it, and we always dig deep. We always do it the hard way. I look at a lot of the games we had this season. There weren't emphatic scorelines, but we would just, grind out results and stuff like that. I remember one time we played Bristol City midweek, and we actually looked really good. We looked like, we were a Premier League side in that game. But obviously it was only 1-0. There was the slight games where we just grind out them results, especially against Burnley, we got a draw away, which was very impressive at the time. Sheffield United, we went there and won. So, you look at results like that, and obviously, just grinding out any sort of result, so it was one of them. But, I just felt we were going to do it. And something they kept going on and on about as well, Rob Edwards and his staff, was that we worked on penalties, and you could see it in the final, we didn't miss one. And, I just felt it was our time to do it. And the player that did actually miss for Coventry, I was with my dad, and I did say to him, I got a feeling he'll miss this one, and obviously he did. So,
fate has everything, doesn't it? And actually, the other thing I wanted to speak to you about, because Nathan Jones, we all know what happened to him, and we all know that he did a very, very good job at Luton Town as well. He obviously goes to Southampton. Rob Edwards, who was sacked by Watford, has gone to Luton and taken them up. I think that's the first time ever that's happened. Like, a manager's been sacked by somebody else, gone to another team, and taken them straight up. It's absolutely fantastic. But is there sort of different similarities between the style of play that Rob Edwards plays and Nathan Jones did?
I would say it's different. I think, when Nathan Jones was coming towards the end of his time at Luton, what we noticed was he was trying to play long balls, and it just wasn't really working. Fans were starting to get frustrated because you was just expecting, a player to get a hold of it and then make something happen. Since Rob Edwards has come in, we've played a lot more football on the ground, and it's been a lot better. There has been a few standout games from it, where you've seen really good football of it. Obviously, like I said, Bristol City game. QPR away, as much as they were poor, that was just impressive. Just the Doherty goal. I'm not sure if any of you saw that. Just the build up on that goal was brilliant. So when it comes to the playing style, he's stuck with the same formation. He's stuck with what the players know, but at the same time, he's changed it up a little bit by doing a lot more, of the on the ground sort of work instead of just hoofing it up there and hoping for the best. So. Yeah, no, absolutely, guys. I'll get into your comments now. I there have been absolutely loads of comments, and then we will get back into the discussion. Where did I get to? Oh my goodness me, I've gone way too high. Oh, there we go.
Good evening, Mike. Hope you are well. Obviously, good luck to Newport this season. Yes, Diz has asked this question. Weghorst has returned. Now, with the look on Dan's face, he's probably not very happy. How do you feel about Weghorst returning?
Speechless. It's strange. It's strange to. I mean, I don't know what his agent did to get to get him to Manchester United. His agent must be, I don't know, a descendant of the Portuguese fella that I don't know how he's worked that one. But I've got to admit, he's not going to score us goals. He's not going to score us goals. His source of goals, at Besiktas was fine. It was like a goal every 2 games. 16 appearances, 8 goals. That's not bad for him there. But 17 appearances at Manchester United and, like England in a Eurovision, nil bois. So it's literally just if we can utilise him, then fair enough. I'll back him. If he's got a Burnley shirt on his back, you back him, no matter what. So I do believe that he will fit in a lot better into a Kompany style of play than a Dash style of play, because for a 6 foot, God knows what player he is. I've never known someone be so tall but then go 2 foot smaller when they go up for an header. He's crap with his head, which is strange to say, but playing behind a striker, get others involved. We saw last season he set up Rashford for a few. He did it for Burnley with the 2 goals that he's got as well. He set up Jay Rodriguez for quite a few. But I think when he came in as well, that's another thing. The half of the players we had are no longer there. And a lot of them said that Weghorst was a bad egg. My only issue is we've got a young squad that are going to be prone to making mistakes. And if Weghorst can't accept that, all it takes is him turning and just going, no. This is, for me, the Weghorst situation, if it was to work out in a perfect scenario, would be similar, and I said it before, a bit like Jamie Tart from Ted Lasso. He's come in, Billy Big Bollocks, thinks he's going to do the business, ends up his career goes down the shit pan. Next minute, comes back, becomes a team player, is a bit more talkative. That's the sort of Weghorst we need. Someone that's going to be a voice in the dressing room, not a leader, but someone who's actually going to say, look, I can do something here. I'm sure Kompany will have sat down with him. I'm sure Alan Pace will have sat with him as well. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when him and Connor Roberts finally come to having a discussion as well, though, because that should be funny. After the Wales-Holland game and him saying, why couldn't you do that at Burnley? So, it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting. Personally, 31 come the 7th of August this year. And if he hasn't really hit the heights come January, you cut your losses. For me, if you get 10 million offered, between 8 and 10 million in this transfer window, I think he'd have to go for me personally.
It'll be very, very interesting to see if he plays many games. Let's just say that.
I'm sure fans will love him if he grabs the winner against City. I'm sure he'll become an instant Clarets legend with that.
To be honest, Ed, Vincent knew the Belgium League after being a manager and coach there. That is very, very true. Hello, Anthony. Big up Douglas on the panel. I did hear Luton Burnley is called off because of the state of the stadium. Sorry, D-boy. I've been to your ground. I've seen FO making a brew in their kitchen, walking up the steps. Typical. Oh, here we go. Hello, Chris. Hey, it's the Ginger Northerner. Nice to see Luton Town in the Prem. Well done to the Hatters and good luck. Sheffield United back too. And then he says, keep our place warm for us, guys. Hashtag hope.
Liverpool
Rich, good evening, Rich. Hope you're well. I hopefully speak to some of you guys before the season's out. I am pretty sure you will. Good evening, Hannah, as well. Hi, Rich, for being linked with Diallo. I did see that, Chris. Good evening, Luke, as well. Not a Forest fan. He's quite highly rated by some, but I'm not sure. Good evening, Elevator, as well. Pretty much what Maze was saying. Hi, True and Lifty. Hey, Chris. Was Dan having a fit there? Got 999 on speed dial for him. Typical.
As soon as I hear the word Wout Weghorst, I sort of shriek a little bit. So
yeah. He's doing well in the Championship. The Premier League is a lot tougher. Yeah, absolutely. Alan's in. Welcome, boys. Thanks for the 18 points. Don't get your chickens till they hatch, mate. Don't get your chickens till they hatch. Will suit us then. Just kidding. He'd probably do well for you. Fingers crossed. Luke says, great to see the club like Luton Town in the Premier League. Such an unbelievable story from just being non-league in 2014. Absolutely. Then his relegation's coming for Burnley after 2 poor seasons, but now I believe they're going down that road Newcastle went through. Stephen C says, progression's been outstanding. The playoffs last season set us up this season. To all the newly promoted sides, welcome back to the Prem. This is Zane. Hello, Zane. Hope you're well. No, I don't think they'll have a massive takeover in Newcastle soon to make Champions League anytime soon, but I do think they could have consistent top half finishes. Stephen says, I cried my eyes out all the emotions that day at Wembley. We love you, Luton, we do. We love you, Luton, we do. We love you, Luton, we do. Oh, Coventry, we hate you. Yeah, typical you say that, and actually Leicester's first game is against Coventry. So that'll be a good one. What's this? I think Burnley picking up Theodore Pudding has to be the. Oh, dear me. Good evening, Ali, as well. Hello, Diego, as well. Stephen says Jones leaving has been a blessing. Rob Evers to be sacked by Watford after like 10 games. Go to the local rivals, taking them to the Premier League. Karma. Yeah, absolutely is. As well. Maguire off captaincy, Weghorst out the door, smart from United. Could Kompany unlock Weghorst's potential? Asked Diego.
Hope so.
You had to think about that answer there, didn't you?
It's one of them, hope so, but if I had to pick between yes or no, I'd probably say no. I think the guy's already peaked. He's already peaked. There's no potential left in a 31-year-old.
Yeah. Elevator's gone for the bottom 5 predictions. A little controversial, right? Okay. It's got 20th Everton, 19th Luton, 18th Sheffield United, 17th Bournemouth, and 16th Wolves. Well, I will be asking all 3 where they think they'll be finishing. I called Covett. I think you meant home, mate. I think you meant home. Yeah.
No, that's the name. That's what Leicester have changed the name of the stadium to. It's just a hole. That's all it is now.
I'm afraid for the car. Oh, God. Here we go. Dad jokes alert. Jaden Joe. Hello. Jaden Joe says Jordan Henderson leaving Liverpool. At the moment, it is looking like he's going to be leaving. Looking very, very close to potentially going as well. Have Burnley got a decent 4th stand yet, says Chris. And yes, most likely. Right, well, we'll speak obviously about your transfer windows so far. So, Burnley's incoming so far: Jordan Bayer, Dara O'Shea, Michael Obafemi, Lawrence Vigouroux, I think I pronounced that right, and I have put in brackets James Trafford, all but nearly there. Outgoings: Ashley Barnes, which I'm going to speak about because Ashley Barnes was the... Let's just say he did end Liverpool's 69 match-winning run at Anfield. Will Norris and Matthew Lowton as well. Are you happy with your transfer window so far, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to look at more attacking players now. At the moment, I'd say our transfer business is probably about a 3 out of 10. So there is room for maybe with a left-back and... Well, it's rumoured we've apparently signed Nathan Redmond on a free transfer. Apparently he was been training with us, as has Andros Townsend, and apparently we've made a decision on which one we want. To be fair, I'd say Nathan Redmond one's not a bad one. He's still only 29. He's just come back from Besiktas, so at least if Weghorst does piss a few people off, he's got someone to talk to from those days. So yeah, it's looking like he's pretty much through the door as well, which is good experience. He's been around, obviously, a few clubs, and it gives us another attacking option. Like I said, I'd love to see Nathan Teller back at Turf Moor. I'm sure that's going to be one of those that probably drags its arse out to the dying depth of the transfer window. But I'm relatively happy. We knew the Obafemi deal was going to happen, but as soon as this, Swansea loan came through. Jordan Bayer, shoring that one up straight off the bat was a stroke of genius. I'm glad that there was a deal in place, a fee to pay that if we did get promoted, he's going to go on to become arguably one of Germany's best centre-backs. I'd say up there with the likes of Hummels and things like that. Or as we like to call him, Beckenbayer at Turf Moor. I know, cliche and a bit, but
oh dear.
To be fair, he is brilliant. Getting forward, defensively, he's almost like Ben Mee on steroids. He's something else. But the signings of League Two goalkeeper, everyone would be a bit like, well, what we signed him for? But he were League Two goalkeeper of the season last year. He's only 26. Is the Chilean? So this again, 26 for a keeper. That's still pretty much like he's only just come into the game. You hit your peak between 33, 35 is when you probably have your two best years. And I'm interested to see what we've got to come anyway. I am relatively happy, but like I said, I give it a 3 out of 10 at the minute. Give me some attackers, and you can easily up that to an 8.
Yeah, I'm going to actually ask you a couple of things here. Nathan Tella and Maatsen, are they two you could potentially see coming back in?
I would love, out of the two, Nathan Tella. To be honest, if they're saying 15 million gets him, then find it. Yeah. Get down the back of every sofa you can at Turf Moor, find it and pay it. Because, I mean, even if he did naff all this season, what he contributed to us last season is worth the 15 million alone. Ian Maatsen would have been one of the first loanees that I would have said snap up in the first half of last season. But he did drop off a little bit towards the second half. And you start to see a few little, tweaks in his game that you thought, he doesn't look as strong as we thought. I'd still love to see him back. I mean, again, he's still very, very young. He's got a year left on his contract at Chelsea. I just don't agree with the fact of the numbers that Chelsea are putting on these players. I mean, 22 million euros for Pulisic, but yet you want 25 million for Ian Maatsen. Make it make sense, mate.
That is ludicrous. So obviously, I've spoken about obviously incomings, outgoings. Do you expect any more sort of big outgoings at all?
I wouldn't be surprised to see a keeper probably leave. I'm not sure whether Peacock Farrell will probably go off. I think Sheffield Wednesday are interested, and a few teams like that. He did pretty well for Sheffield Wednesday, apart from that clanger that he dropped, and I think someone rounded him when he put the ball on the floor. But he'd probably go. Dennis Frankie, another goalkeeper, may go out on loan as well. Our attackers, I'm not one for sentiment. Yes, Jay Rodriguez is a Burnley lad and stuff like that, but again, I just don't think he will offer us anything in terms of. I mean, last season, if someone said you're keeping hold of one of them, Barnes or Rodriguez, unfortunately, I'd have said Barnes. Because I think 10 minutes from the death, he comes on, ruffles a few feathers. And I'm not saying he's going to get a goal, but again, it's not just his, goal scoring. Yeah. It's the fact of him bringing the ball down, bringing others into play. It'll be a big miss. It will be a big miss. I can understand why he's gone to Norwich in that sort of fill that Pookie role, but it was sad to see him go. But it's nice to see him play in a friendly recently and start a 12-man brawl. It's just Barnes being Barnes.
That does not surprise me, Ashley Barnes. I think he'll do well in Norwich. I think he'll do very, very well.
Did very well to get a 2-year contract as well.
Yeah. I think as well with the age that he is as well. I think most clubs would probably do like a 1-year deal, but yeah, to get a 2-year deal was it's absolutely fantastic. We'll move from obviously Burnley to Sheffield United now. I did actually write obviously before today. Obviously Slimani, that's one that's already been signed. The other one, Yasser Larouci, which is very, very interesting. Now, for Liverpool fans, you will know who Yasser Larouci is. I think he had one game, and I think he was absolutely poleaxed by a Sevilla player. The Sevilla player incidentally got sent off because it was a really, really bad challenge. It was literally just basically punted the back of his foot. So, Yasser Larouci, very, very good science. The outgoings is something I've noticed is that a lot of experience has gone here. Enda Stevens is gone. Jack O'Connell's gone. Billy Sharp, that must be the big one as well. How do you feel about your transfer window so far, Ollie?
How do I feel? It's a weird one. And obviously it comes back around to this point we talked about earlier. We've been promoted to the Premier League, but 6 months ago we were in this embargo. And so we are, I think as fans, have been trained to be realistic. We're not expecting a massive window. You know, we did that last time we got promoted. We spent 20 million on numerous players. You absolutely fleeced us for Ryan Brewster, but I'll not be too bitter about it. And so this summer, I think we are expecting it to be a lot more managed transfers. I think it's quite exciting to see that we're going to look at young European markets to see where we can find value, to try and bring in some players who are going to develop with the club rather than we're going to throw money at it. And if it don't work, leave us lumbered with long-term, really expensive signings. So overall, I don't want to get carried away. Like, I'm nobody, no Sheffield United fans are going to sit here and go 10 out of 10. We've smashed this window. But with the news coming out today that Iliman Ndiaye is more likely to stay than he is to leave, they think he's going to sign a new contract. That on its own makes this window an 8 out of 10. Because if he doesn't leave and he's still with us come the 1st of September, that's all that matters from this point onwards. Nobody we can sign could be better or could replace Iliman Ndiaye. So I think that for me is the real focus now. It's looking at those outgoings and making sure that we keep the key players of this squad in it and we add where we can. Now, if I was saying exactly what I wanted, I'd like us to bring in a left centre back. There were rumours we were after, and I can neither pronounce nor remember his name, but there was a Hungarian left centre back. I think it's Saloy, who's just gone to Union Berlin.
Yes,
we were rumoured to be in for him, but obviously he's gone somewhere else now. We've brought in Larouci to sit on the left wing back role. I still think we need another midfielder. You know, we've got Slimani in, but, you know, we lost two with the Man City lads who were playing central midfield last year. So I'd still like to see another central midfielder come in. But the other rumoured player to come is Benny Traore. He's playing for Hacken at the moment. He's got a really good scoring record for them, particularly over his last couple of seasons. So if they come off, it feels as though we have strengthened in the positions that we needed, except maybe a left centre-back and a centre midfielder. But I might just be being greedy. As long as we keep Iliman Ndiaye, I'll just smile and say it's gone well.
Yeah, absolutely. Goalkeeper's interesting because obviously Wes Foderingham is an interesting. I obviously for people who don't know, I do watch a lot of Scottish football, so I do remember him at Rangers, and he did have his moments. And I was watching the Championship last season. He did have his moments then. So do you think he's a good enough goalkeeper to be in the Premier League?
League One, Wes. It's hard to try and... for anybody who doesn't know that, by the way, Google League One Wes and you'll get a fantastic Paolo Di Canio clip that is just... It's got to be seen to be believed. I really like him. He is a good goalkeeper. He's done a really good job for United since becoming our number one about 18 months ago. We obviously had Aaron Ramsdale last time we were in the Premier League, got relegated. He moved on to Arsenal after he threw his toys out of the pram and refused to play for us. We then replaced him with what we thought was a really good signing, a Swedish international. We got Robin Olsen. He's rubbish, just in case, you know. I don't know where he is now, but whoever's got him, I'm sorry.
Aston Villa, I think.
Is he at Villa?
Aston Villa. Yeah.
I did actually remember seeing him go to Villa, and I was like, how has he got to the Premier League? Like, he should be at Swindon. Like, what is he doing? And so since Fotheringham's come in, he has had a really good time with United. He's made some utterly incredible saves. You know, we talked about that FA Cup quarter-final earlier. I think it was from Brereton Diaz. He made an unbelievable double save that effectively was what booked us our place at Wembley. So I don't want to discredit him. Now, what you've said is true. He has his moments. There are times where you question his decision-making. Burnley away, I'm sure Dan will question the decision-making he made that day. And yeah, I would have wanted us to improve on the goalkeeper position. I think there is that is a position we can get better. But I think where we are at the moment, we wanted James Trafford, but we just don't have the money that it would have cost us to be able to bring him in. We would have loaned him from City, but that obviously wasn't the direction of travel they were looking for. And so I think with our budget, Wes is as good as we were going to get. And he is a solid keeper. He's done a good job for us, and he does deserve the chance after what he's done for his last sort of 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there'll be any more incomings coming into Sheffield United, and do you think there'll be any more outgoings?
So I hope there are no more outgoings. There are 2 players who are potentially on the outgoings list. They've both got 12 months left on the contract, and next summer they may be able to leave for free. They are Iliman Ndiaye and Sander Berge. We don't want either of them to leave. I would very much like both of them to stay. Like I say, the news coming out today is that it seems quite likely that Iliman Ndiaye will sign a massive new contract that will mean he can leave next summer we will still get a fee. Like, I don't think anybody's going to say, he'll probably sign a 2-year deal. I don't think anybody believes he's going to stay for a 2-year deal, but we'll get 12 months of this first season in the Premier League and we'll still get a fee next summer. Sander Berge is a bit more complicated. I don't know if he's going to sign a new contract, but there's not really been any noise about teams coming for him either. So it might just be that we end up in this weird hybrid position of he just rumbles on, cutting down the months of his contract to see if anybody does come in or does get interested. So I'm hoping that no, we won't see any other players leave apart from youngsters going out on loan. In terms of incomings, I am hoping we'll see a few more. So like I say, I'm expecting Benny Traore at some point in the next sort of couple of weeks. I think that one's been delayed he does meet the international criteria since they've been reduced, but apparently it takes longer because he wouldn't have met them before they changed the system or something like that. Some like law stuff that I don't understand. So I think he'll come in up front, and I do think we'll see some quite not inspiring is not the right word, but we'll see some loans coming in from other Premier League teams. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tommy Doyle comes back to the club, whether that's a loan, whether we do manage to get the money together to sign him, I don't know. I think it's probably more likely that it will be a loan. We've also been rumoured to be after a number of other players. You know, Mason Holgate is a name that keeps coming back around. I know he's worked with Heckingbottom before. He really likes him, so he could end up coming in. There's also obviously James McAtee. As the summer rolls on, if Man City are looking for a loan, he could come back to the club. It would be him or Doyle. I don't think it would be both. And I don't know which one we would go for. I think preferably Doyle, but you never know how the system's going to work. Carney Chukwuemeka is another one who's been talked about quite a bit from Chelsea. Another one coming in on loan, just to give that little bit more creativity in midfield. So I am expecting us to see some more players, but who they are right now is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've managed to keep the bulk of your squad as well. I think John Fleck, I think Ben Osborne, I think they extended, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So Fleck, Osborne and Jack Robinson have all extended. We needed them to, because there was a point where before we'd brought in Slimani and John Fleck hadn't signed his contract, we'd got Ollie Norwood and Sander Berge. And I had no idea how we were going to get through a Premier League season. I was like, what's our midfield going to be, guys? But fortunately, yeah, John Fleck signed on. I'm not expecting him to be first choice. I think towards the end of last season, we saw that his time was coming. He's not really been able to re-find his form since COVID, since the lockdown. He got a really bad back injury, and he's just never really been the same player since then. It was great news that Jack Robinson re-signed. He had 2 absolute stinkers against Burnley, so Dan probably thinks I'm talking rubbish and that Robinson is an absolute joker. But he had a really good season last year. He really was one of our most improved players, and I think he's earned the right again to have a go at the Premier League. And Osborne gives us utility. He can play left wing back, centre mid, right wing back. He'll do a job anywhere because he is the hardest working player that we've had in a long time. Like, I always think, like, if you put me on a football pitch, the only thing I could guarantee is that I will run and give you everything I've got. And that's exactly what Osborne does, but with a lot more ability than I've got. So that's always nice to see. I was sad about some of the players leaving. You know, you referenced it there, Billy Sharp in particular.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. He's been here a long time.
The legend, absolute legend at Sheffield United.
He's everything. He's everything. So I don't actually know who's going to replace him and be captain. I would assume John Egan, but that's up for grabs. It might be Ollie Norwood. There's a few players who are probably in the mix, but yeah, really, really sad to see him leave. Really sad to see Enda Stevens leave. You know, when we were in the Premier League last time, that first season, he was arguably our standout player. Especially until the COVID lockdown. He was absolutely fantastic. Had a great time. But he's just not been the same player since. And then the saddest story is Jack O'Connell. He got injured at the end of the first season through COVID and has never come back. Like, he's just never been able to play for us again. I think it's, what are we talking? Must be 3 years since he last played for United, maybe two and a half, something like that. And he was so good when we were at our best. He was the player that really, if anybody in our squad was going to go on, play for England, have an unbelievable career, he was that player. He was truly outstanding. And I genuinely believed he would fit in at any club because he was so good for us. But yeah, he just got this knee injury that he can't get rid of. He's just done it again and again. And so I'm really sad to see him go. I know it had to happen. We couldn't just keep paying him and offering him new contracts because he realistically was never going to play. But yeah, that's what I'm really sad about. And if he ever does play again, as soon as the highlights come online, as soon as I see them on Twitter, I'm going to cry. And everyone's going to be like, oh, look, Jack O'Connell's played again. Oh, my God, he's playing. So I'm really looking forward to that moment. Maybe at Rochdale, where he's been before, something like that. But I just really hope he does get a club and he's able to keep playing football somewhere.
Do you know the funniest thing about when, obviously, you're talking about the Jack O'Connell, you're obviously talking about Enda Stevens. I kid you not, I had them in my fantasy football team, Premier League side, for the majority of that 2021 season. That season where you literally finished ninth.
Yeah, we were so good that year.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I think it's very, very sad to see Enda Stevens goes. I think it's very, very sad to see obviously Jack O'Connell go, but obviously Billy Sharp is the other one. But yeah, I think you're good to go for this season. Coming on to Luton, Tyler. Obviously, incoming's Tahith Chong, which is a very interesting one from Birmingham City. 5 million from them. Mads Anderson from Barnsley, which I think is very, very good. And please, if anybody is watching, please do not criticise my pronunciation of Benny from Rotherham. I'm not even going to try the first name. I do have it written down, but I ain't going to try it. And then obviously outgoings, which is interesting as well. Sonny Bradley has gone. Harry Eisted has also gone. Ethan Horvath has gone back as well. Henri Lansbury as well. So how are you feeling about your transfer window?
So far, it's not been too bad. I've always felt we needed to bring a midfielder in. Obviously, Chong keeps playing on the wing as well, which is going to be interesting to see where he actually plays for us. Because we have Jordan Clark, and we got that guy for free, and most of his performances are immense. So I can't see him being thrown out the team in that sense for Chong. Might even play Chong out a wing back. I wouldn't be surprised. We haven't officially got a right back yet, which is still a position we need. So he might even play there, and obviously go, attack as well at times. The outgoings so far, I'm not really too disheartened. Lansbury, I remember when we signed him, we were buzzing, because we, could never used to obviously attract them sort of names, but because of, the progression we did, it just didn't really work out. He had quite a lot of injuries. Still had some decent moments in the Luton shirt. Obviously, a standout one is probably that goal against Hull. That was a brilliant goal. That was, obviously had a talked about moment where we got his chant, obviously where he booted Manning for Swansea. Obviously, he kicks who he wants and all of that. So he did have his memorable moments, but I think going forward, it's he's not quite what we need in that sense. Sonny Bradley, obviously, he's been a massive part of the rise. Shout out to him. Obviously, he had struggles family-wise as well. So the way he's, obviously had that horrific injury as well. So the way to come back in, and he done all right, but there was games where you could see, going forward, he's not quite the answer. That Middlesbrough game, his positioning, it's just quite not there. But massive player, in the rise, and all the best to him at Derby. I think he'll do very well there. I think that's a very good signing for them. Obviously Ethan going back to Forest, not really too surprised that we're not looking to get him permanently. I didn't think he was as bad as what certain people made out, but again, he did have a few mistakes in him at some points, and maybe Nottingham Forest saw this before, hence why they didn't want to get him back when, before they got Dean Henderson, they weren't looking to get him back.
Yeah.
So to me, that tells me maybe they think he's not, quite Premier League ready in that sense. Like I say, he was up there for clean sheets, but at the same time, I think that's a massive shout out because of the defence. And sometimes he was getting caught out. So I think that's fair enough there. Drame, obviously, that's an interesting one. I don't think we'll get him back, personally, but he was very good for us. I just think the teams he's being linked with, or he might even stay at Leeds. I think, now he's got that championship experience, they might want to try and keep hold of him. And, obviously, they'll want to go straight back up. So, I think that having him, that'll be good. Even then, if he doesn't stay at Leeds, I think that the other teams he's been rumoured with, he'll think they'll have more of a chance of staying up, and I think he'll end up going to one of them. And then obviously Anderson coming in, I think that's a good signing. Obviously he was, not quite in the playoff final, but games previously he was a very good standout in that defence for Barnsley. So happy with that signing. And in the Rotherham one, not going to sit here and say I've seen a lot of him, but from what I have seen, he is good. Obviously his standout moment in his career so far is probably the overhead kick goal for Ireland, I'd say. It's a very good goal. So again, he's another player where it'll be interesting to see where he plays as well. Will he play out wide, or will he be a bit more, similar to maybe Chong, where he might be a wing back? And then I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So far I'm happy with the business, and I know there's definitely more to come. So yeah.
And as well, I think we have to mention this as well. Tom Lockyer, we all know what happened to him in the playoff final, but he has extended his deal. Does that just kind of boost the sort of the transfer window up a wee bit for you guys? That obviously Tom Lockyer is staying.
Yeah. I would say so. Obviously a lot of players have extended as well that I'm happy about. Obviously him being one of them. Ruddock, he was always going to because of the story. Elijah, Morris, a lot of them have. So it's good that we've kept that core as well. And a lot of them that have, I've said, I believe they can play in the Premier League. So we'll see what goes on. But yeah, obviously with Anderson coming in as well, I think that's it's going to be interesting to see how we play defensively, because we've got a lot of very decent defenders now. Obviously, we got the Andersons, we got Lockyer, we got Burke, who's a very good player as well, coming in the playoff final, done very well. So it's going to be interesting. Osho, so yeah, it's looking forward to it. That's what I will say.
Yeah, 100%. Right, we will get back into the chat as well. Elevator says yes, most likely. I'm not sure what that is. Anthony, what I'll do is I'll start your question, mate. What I'll do is I will start questions, and I will come back to them. So if anybody does have any questions for the panel, I will start them and I will come back to them. So nowadays it's all about money. Yes, absolutely. I've Everton finishing bottom because they're in a massive mess at the moment. It's not the fact that they're in a massive mess, Elevator. It's the fact that they're basically preparing these players for a retirement home, because I
think he means Liverpool. I think he just put massive mess instead.
Sorry, Jaden. That's all right. Jaden, not a clue, mate. Not a clue. Oh, not a clue. And it's all thanks to Lampard leaving a mess there. Robert, perhaps. Hello, Yatten. Hope you're well. Yes, it has been a while, mate. It has been a while. Nathan Redmond's another one confirmed for Burnley today. I saw on another great Burnley channel. New goalkeeper is very excited. Look, it's Nick Pope signed from the Charlton in League One. Now he's at Newcastle playing Champions League football this coming season. Burnley have a very good record with goalkeepers. They certainly do. The home fans of Bramall Lane will make it difficult for their opponents that don't have fond memories travelling there. Also good to see Luton FC in the Premier League. Sheffield United looking forward to that game, considering what our last game was against them. You had to get that in there, didn't you, Luke? You had to get that in there as well. There'll be another question to Dan. What's better, Burnley in the Prem or the missus you can only pick one? Choose wisely. Oh, my goodness.
The missus, obviously. The missus,
Correct
it's got
answer.
to be. Of course it is.
Of course it is. Of course it is. So obviously teams like Luton promoted to the Premier League will be very hard for them, but still, if they will do a great season in the winter window, they will make a lot. Yeah, 100%. Hello, Reese. Reese, Swans away days. Hello, mate. Hope you're good. Not seen you for a while, actually. I hope you are doing well. I think Beckhorst will stay, but can Kompany turn him to a better player? Remains to be seen. No, Dan's shaking his head. Dan is shaking his head. Question for Ollie: is Chris Basham still at Sheffield United?
He is, yeah. So we've still got Basham. He's more of a squad player now. So last season, oh God, I've put myself under pressure. I didn't even have to do this. Last season, we signed Anel Ahmedodzic. And we signed him. He's a Bosnian centre-back. He now plays right centre-back. So he's taken on the Chris Basham role, and he plays it really well. So he overlaps, he gets forward, scored quite a few goals last season, was a real threat on set pieces. But yes, Basham is still there. We still love him. Now that Billy has gone, Basham is he's the one. He's the legend that's still at the club, who is probably the biggest one that we've got left. So yeah, be delighted to see him again, hopefully playing a little bit in the Premier League, but not too much, because Anel's great.
Yeah, aye. No, that's good to see. That's definitely good to see. Yeah, Sheffield United were terrible after lockdown and terrible in the 2021 season. But ever since fans came back, things have changed. So this season will be interesting. Ollie. Hello, Sheffield United way.
Yes, that'll be.
I'm
Nick
going to
or
guess
Hal,
that's
one of them.
Hull. I'm going to guess it's Hull, because I do know that Hull had the fans forum earlier. Sheffield United were amazing in the 1920 season, and VAR decisions like the McGoldrick offside versus Spurs. You had to mention gone their way, and the defence was stable after lockdown. They could have made Europe.
We should have made you. Honestly, if there were no lockdown, we really would have done. We were so good that year. I think when lockdown hit, I think we were 5th with a game in hand, and we'd just beat Norwich at Bramall Lane. And then I remember it being announced. And then we were so bad after that. Like for 18 months, we were just awful. Oh.
Ty's cursed camera strikes again, says Stephen. We love you, Ollie. Tom Forma. To be honest, Stephen, I am actually getting my information from Transfer Marked. So apologies. I did not know it was 4. So yeah, there we go. There's Dana saying any tickets to sign Harry Maguire.
All day long. Anybody. Right. I'm not having this Harry Maguire slander, right? I'm willing to go out and make a stand on this. Harry Maguire is absolutely fantastic. His confidence has been crushed at Man U. It might not fit what they want to do, but for 16 of the teams in the Premier League, he would be absolutely incredible. Like you see his performances for England, he is a hell of a player. He's really, really good, and anybody would be lucky to have him. He just needs somewhere that he can get his confidence back and have fans who actually respect and want to support him, and that's clearly not Man United. I will go out on a limb at all times for Harry. He's so good.
Burnley will take him, says Anthony, and then sure Wrexham would have him. Has anyone ever seen Tom Lockyer and Dom Grennan in the same room?
Yeah, do you not think that Tom Lockyer and Tom Grennan looks very similar? I don't know whether it's just the hairdo, to be fair, but...
And having watched Soccer Aid, you know what I mean? They can both play.
Exactly.
They can both play.
Stephen says future is orange.
I ain't dyed my beard yet.
Luke's asked a very good question for you, Tyler. The question on my lips now, will Luton try Ethan Horvath on a permanent deal?
No, I don't think so. Obviously we've been rumoured with a lot of keepers. As it is, obviously, preferably we need 2. Obviously we've loaned one out, so I just can't see it. I just can't see it. Like I said, he was good for us. He weren't as bad as what people were saying, but he still had their miffy performances. So,
yeah, if that season could have gone in Champions League of City, but yeah, absolutely. Hello, Del Boy. What's the crack? Douglas and panel. Big up, Danny Boy. Welcome back to the big league, mate. I mean, Maguire is the GOAT. I want United fans respect him. Cheers, Del Boy. What's the crack? Love it. Absolutely. So we will speak about. What games are you looking forward to this season? So, Dan, I'll come back to you. Are there any sort of games where you're looking at the list and yep, I want to go at that. Yep, I want to go at that. Which games are you looking forward to?
It doesn't look like I'll be going to hardly any this year due to the change in the system of how Burnley have done things with the loyalty points. So it's looking like getting tickets is going to be like rocking horse shit. There's no like a fat chance or no chance. I think as well, I mean, I understand it. What we've done is similar to England's setup, where you've got your 5-year rolling point system, which has peed off again. Some of those with the Flask and stuff who seem to think that they deserve a ticket for Blackburn away just because they've been to one away game in 65 years. But that said, I'm just looking forward to having Premier League football back at Turf Moor. I think no matter what, if we can still make that place, like Kompany said when he were on the steps of the town hall, make Turf Moor hell. Never mind a fortress, make it hell. Mm-hmm. Do not let them come here and think they can take points. Like I say, Manchester City, I think Pep said it in the documentary, going to Burnley is like pulling teeth. I'm sure it will be like having a full-on root canal come Friday, the 11th of August.
Yeah, I can't believe you got Manchester City. I was actually convinced that we were going to go to
computer generated, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I've got to be honest, Dan. When the fixtures came out, I thought Burnley Liverpool. I had a feeling we were going to go to Turf Moor, but
I think the first two were obviously going to be. A lot of Burnley fans would have said, City because of the Kompany link, or Dash back at Burnley, or Burnley going to Everton, and sort of that link. Personally, I think I thought we were going to have someone like Villa away or something. But you know, our second game of the season is now postponed, so we've got a free weekend tile to do what the heck we want, just because your stadium, which is apparently ahead of schedule, clearly still isn't ready. So we've got a bit of a free week that week. So I don't know. I might have to book an holiday in that week just so I can keep my mind on the straight and narrow. But
yeah,
I'm just looking forward to it. Like I say, you've got to beat the teams that have come up with you. I think that's one thing that we'll all agree on, that you've got to try and win those games. We saw last year that the Premier League has changed drastically, and you know, every team's within a chance. Brighton can do it. Villa can do it. You know, Newcastle probably thought if we can get Conference League, we'd be happy with that. They punched above their weight. So, yeah, let's see. Never say never. The Premier League always likes to chuck up a surprise. Everton's go down.
I was literally about to come to that. Is Everton one game where you're looking forward to? Because I know there is a bit of bad blood between Burnley and Everton.
Yeah, I've got even more bad blood because my stepdad's a Blue, and I bought him tickets for the Boxing Day fixture where they absolutely trounced us 5 summer at Turf Moor. And yeah, for them to walk, my stepdad said, "Just wait a moment." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Just wait till the stadium empties." So I said, "All right." I said, "Why?" He says, "Oh, I just feel a bit like I'd rather it be a bit quieter." And I thought, this ain't like him. So as I'm walking downstairs, he goes, "Oi, Daniel." I turned around, he's at the top of the turnstile, undoes his jacket, and he's got his Everton top on. And he's now put it on all his social media as his profile picture. And I just thought, absolute donkey, like a lot stronger than that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, what happens, because the Dash football wasn't interesting to watch, but it got results. You could say the same with, you know, Warnock and Huddersfield in the Championship last season. It's going to be good though. I'm looking forward to it, whoever we play. I just think that, you know, like I say, football being back, sod VAR. We're back in the Prem. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Same question, Ollie. Is there any games where you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think I'm sure Dan's probably the same, but I think a little bit of it, because we were there not that long ago, it feels like the novelty's not there. Although we did miss quite a lot, obviously, of ours due to lockdown. Like, we do feel like we've played them. But I am really looking forward to going to Everton. Like, it'll be the last chance to go to Goodison, to go and have that environment. We had a fantastic time when we were there in our first season. So I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to go and do that, to go there again, hopefully to beat them, and, you know, to just have a really good day. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to having it at Bramall Lane, because I think the main thing for United, and we said this before about how badly we fell apart as soon as fans weren't there. I think there's something unbelievably special about that, like, first time we get like a Tuesday night or a Friday night at Bramall Lane, or even a Saturday night these days. Actually, we'll be playing at
That and Greasy Chick Butty belted out.
As soon as that comes, that's going to be incredible. So they're the moments that I'm really, really looking forward to. Those nights at Bramall Lane when we really upset one of the bigger teams. That's just what I live for. So I would, very much looking forward to that.
And as well, you've got Newcastle, first game of the season. I mean, that's 5:30 in Bramall Lane. Going to be a very interesting one, that one.
Palace, I think we've got first game.
There's a Palace.
I think it's Palace we've got at Bramall Lane, though. And I'm really looking forward to it because I think I was looking at our first 5 games and I think we've got Palace at home, Everton at home. We've got Notts Forest away, another game I'm really looking forward to. It was referenced before, but obviously last time we went there, well, the atmosphere will be interesting because last time we went there, they didn't cover themselves in glory, shall we say, with the performance of some of their fans. But overall, I'm really looking forward to that. It's always a great experience to go to Forest, I think. It's a really nice away game. It feels like it's really intense. So that'll be a good one. But I feel as though we have got it in us to make a good start. And I think that first game, being at Bramall Lane, really does feel like it could be special. I think our first game last time we were promoted at Bramall Lane was Palace as well. We won 1-0. Bright sunshine, just a really good time. And so I'm just hoping for the same again. Let's get some points on the board early. Let's not be waiting until January to get our first win again. Let's not have any of that. Let's get it in August, and then we can really start the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did actually write down as well Aston Villa away because we all kind of know that Villa almost went down. Yeah.
A scandal. They should have gone down. Like all of this story, them like.
I thought there were a Blackburn fan in then, Ollie. Did you say it's system or sister? It's just I didn't thought there were a Blackburn fan in the chat then, or a Watford fan,
Daniel.
or Wednesday dirty buggers.
No, like they should have gone down. Like the story with Emery, them getting all the investment, going into Europe. None of that should have happened because they should have been in the Championship. But as long as the system works, or they're willing to use VAR, it'll be a great visit to Villa Park. And I'm not bitter or twisted about it. It was just I'd waited 3 months for football. Nobody had been able to play. First game back, game were crap, and we got screwed. And breathe. It's fine. It's been a while.
Absolutely. I suppose for you, obviously, though, Tyler, obviously being in the Premier League sort of first season, obviously the first season ever back in the Premier League. Are there any sort of games you're looking forward to?
To be honest, obviously there's games I'm looking at right now and, taking them as the free hits, the Man City's home and away, probably Liverpool away, to be honest. But I'm just looking forward to it all, to be honest. To actually be there is just phenomenal, really, isn't it? So any game for me. Yeah,
and obviously I do actually have to ask you as well, what is the latest with Kenilworth Road? Because obviously I know you have had to postpone against Burnley on the 19th of August. You are looking to have your first home game, I think it's against West Ham, I think on the 1st of September. What is the latest with the Kenilworth Road?
To be honest, I'm confused with it all because, like Dan mentioned earlier, they say they're ahead of it and then obviously a game gets postponed. It's a bit of an annoying one because I think we did request anyway, before, as much as we're trying to get it done as soon as possible. I think we did request we can have, first few games away, but the Premier League just, doing the usual really. So it's a bit of an annoying one, but it's getting there slowly but surely by the looks of it. I see the odd pictures every now and then. And apparently it might actually extend the stadium a little bit more. So if it goes the way it will, we might actually be up to 11K. So we won't actually be the smallest ground in the Prem. So yeah, that's all I know on it really at this moment in time. So
yeah, well, fingers crossed that we will see some Premier League football at Kenilworth Road because, I remember a good FA Cup tie between Luton and Liverpool, 5-3. I remember Luton were 3-1 up at one point, and Liverpool had to come back and went 5-3. That was the game, I think, where I think Stevie G scored from about 40 yards, and then no, actually Alonso scored twice. Alonso scored absolute perler from about 40 yards out, and then obviously the one where he just rolls it into the back of the net. But no, I think everyone is looking forward to obviously football at Kenilworth Road as well. Messi is in Miami now, spotted. Yeah, I have seen that. I have seen that. Hello, Henry. Hope you are well. Just popped to give you a like while eating dinner. No, thank you very much. Villa TV. Hello, mate. Big up, lads. I think Burnley will get 13th. Luton and Sheffield United to go down. Sorry, I do hope you all stay up, though. But I will get to that very, very soon. Burnley, I'm looking forward. Whipping twice because I won't hear the end of it otherwise. Well, we'll see. Look, we will see. As a Liverpool fan, I'll be worried about playing Burnley away. Kompany's team will be fired up for that, no question. Stephen says, if us Luton do go down, I hope we turn heads going. If we stay up, I hope the league take note. Diego says, Kompany versus Dice would be very interesting. It certainly will be. Hopefully Kompany wins so everyone get relegated 20th, like I said, with the mess they're in. I've read that one as well. Luton FC versus Liverpool. My popcorn is ready. Absolutely. Imagine if Watford were in the Prem playing Luton. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get into any talk about Watford because apparently I have an agenda against Watford fans. So, yeah. Well, I'll just leave that there. Everton always seem to lose at home to Sheffield United. Fingers crossed that they beat them again. Fingers crossed. Good stream, Douglas, and good luck to your teams for next season. Liverpool will need it. Long jokes. Dear me. It will feel so weird not seeing Leicester in the Prem. It will. Who's not Solly. Palace will be ready with Roy's. As a Villa fan, we should have gone now. All Villa fans know it. Not so your players' legs next season, Luke. It should be done by Burnley. Just safety measures won't be completed. Burnley only promoted team to stay up, in my opinion. Hello, Siobhan. Hope you're well. I mean, Forrest Bournemouth and Fulham all stayed up last season. Never say never. Absolutely. And I was there. Electric atmosphere. So I will have two more questions for you guys. First one's for Dan. Expectations for the new season?
I think even on any sort of return back to the Premier League, you've got to look at what happened last year. It's not gonna repeat itself. It's very, very rare that lightning strikes twice. We saw a lot of teams would love to come up and have the Leicester moment. Go up and just have that, roar of success. I can't see that. There's too many good teams now at the top trying to fight them. Well, fight to be on level par with Manchester City and their expenditure. First season back, I would take 17th and above. I think you've got to be real to the situation. I know Kompany as a manager will not have that same mentality because that would not be seen as success for him. But you've got to look at the bigger picture and be real. Anything from 15th and above is a wonderful, wonderful campaign. And then it's just about steady progression from there. Even if we just became a little bit like Leicester did with that fifth place staple, if we can have like a top half, 10th, 11th, 12th finish for a few seasons before we literally, turn the notch up and try and go even further, who knows? But with just this first season, 17th and above, that's the real aim. However, if I had to put a place on it, I'll say 13th. 13th, 14th.
That wouldn't be a bad season at all. That would not be a bad season at all. Ollie, same question to you. Expectations for the new season?
Same hope. 17th and above. That's what we want. That's what we're going to be aiming for. I think it's tough. I think it's really difficult. I think, we talked there about the teams, who else is going to be down there. You're looking at the league and you think, actually, it looks quite strong. I'd like to put Bournemouth down there, but I know they're spending big. They've got a manager in who's performed miracles in Spain. So there's every chance that they get better rather than getting worse. Forest, with how much money they've got, they will probably be fine. And apologies, Nottingham Forest. I think Nottingham Forest have got plenty of money. They're probably going to have a better sort of gel to their team than they had last season. They had so much disruption that I expect them to also be a team that gets better. So suddenly you're looking at Everton. I think I'm looking at Wolves, and then I'm looking at one of these two. I think they're the three that we've got to try and be above. And so
Liverpool
tough.
or Luton?
Liverpool or Luton, yeah, they're the two I was talking about, Dan.
I thought that's what you meant, Ollie. Great guy,
you can
you.
see that's who I'm pointing to on my screen. You've got Liverpool and Luton. But yeah, so I think expectation. Let's be positive and say 17th. That's where I think United can finish.
Interesting. And Tyler, same question for you. Expectations?
Exact same as these guys. To stay up. 17th. Plain and simple. First time being in it. Let's start it off on a decent one. Like I say, we progress each season. So if we're to stay up in the best division in England, then we'll take that any day of the week, especially being first season. So yeah, 17th.
I think anybody would definitely take that. Stephen says Watford mind the gap. Siobhan, I'm very well, mate. I hope you're good as well. Hope you're well as well. Elevator says he has Burnley 15th. Stephen says that Leicester season was a freak season. You don't get many of them. Siobhan says Sheffield United 19th, Luton 20th. Sakangari was a terrible move from Bournemouth. It was a shock, but I think most people kind of came to the realization he's probably a stop-start manager. I think he was just someone to sort of steady the ship, and then I think they were going to get someone as well. Shaban says maybe 4. Bournemouth going down to... I'm not so sure. I think Bournemouth signing, obviously, Cliver. I think they're getting Kirkic, I think, who played for Azad Alkmaar. As well, which is a very, very good signing. I've got to say, very, very good left back as well. Stephen says 17th. Burnley 15th. Sheffield United 17th. Luton 20th. They'll pick up a point. Burnley 13th. Sheffield United 19th. And Luton 20th. And my last question before I do let you three go, and it has been a fantastic stream. What does your team have to do differently that you did in the Championship to the Premier League? So, Dan, I'll come to you for that one. What does your team have to do differently that you did in the Championship to the Premier League?
Win games in the Premier League other than winning games in the Championship, I suppose. I know it's a little bit sort of... I think we're not going to be as on the front foot as we were in the Championship. I'd like to see us still adopt that mentality. But the possession, I don't think, is going to be as high as it were in games last year. We had a lot of like 70-80% possession, and you're just thinking, I mean, yeah, the stats are good, but it's what you do with it as well. And in the end, we had goals coming from all over the team. I think a lot of people will be surprised by Burnley this year as well. They'll be expecting that Burnley to come there with that, grit, determination like they always have, but they will not expect a Burnley with flair. That's something that I don't even think them words ever were thought to be put together, to be honest with you. So the closest thing to flair was putting pepper in a steak pie, to be honest with you, right, in Burnley. So that's something. But I'm just looking forward to it. I think if we can surprise a few people along the way, get a few surprise results and stay up, who knows? But for me, just keep hold of Kompany, keep hold of him before he doesn't want to be doing any of these Lampard, sort of moves and thinking he can run before he can walk, because he didn't really work out at Anderlecht. It seemed to have worked for him so far with Burnley. Why not keep that train going at the moment? That's got to be priority. Yeah,
I don't think Kompany and Lampard should be anywhere near in the same sentence. So I will say that first of all. Ollie, same question to you. What does your team have to do differently in the Championship of the Premier League?
We need to find a better... This is going to sound ridiculous because we scored loads last year, but I think we need to find a better way to score goals. I think last season, particularly the latter half of last season, we were very, very, very reliant on a bit of magic from Enda. We spent a lot of our time just giving the ball and he will do something. And it worked out. He did do it a lot. He really did make a big difference, but we really need to make that more of a repeatable structure. In the Premier League, you need more than that, really. So I really want to see us go back to what we were so good at under Wilder, where we had a repeatable structure of we create overloads down either wing and we create goal scoring chances by doing that. And I think if you can get a system like that that's set, that gives you a way to score, that's 50% of your battle won. Like, you will stay up if you have that way. So I think we need to look to try and develop that. But I think generally speaking, our system should suit us quite well. I think we did a lot towards the end of last season. If we were 1-0 up, we then would sit fairly deep. We allowed teams to come onto us and then try to sort of play through them and go on the break. So I think we are very strong defensively, and I think that puts us in a good position to be able to come at this and battle and fight and grit and do all of those Sheffield United things that you try and do to finish 17th. And I've just got to hope that it's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Same question to you, Tyler. What does Luton have to do differently that they did in the Championship of the Premier League?
For me, we got to, it's going to be difficult because it is the Premier League, but we need to just make our home ground a fortress. I feel that's what we got to do. I think if we do stay up, that is going to be a massive factor. Games at home, I remember a lot of times last season, especially at the start, not necessarily towards the end. I think it was after the Blackburn game, we were pretty much good at home. I think the only loss we had was Burnley in the league or something. So, but I think we just need to improve on that. Massively. I remember the season before, I think we only lost like 5 times in all competitions at home. So just to make that a fortress, really. Obviously we know, it's a tight ground, so just tense atmosphere. So just keep that going, especially, against teams, because a lot of teams in the Premier League, they like to pass it round and that. So, and we're a team that just non-stop presses. So just, keep that tense atmosphere, keep, boosting the players and just that sort of thing, really. So for me, it's the home form, really. Just make it a fortress.
Yeah, absolutely. And then see what you do away from home. As simple as that. Let me go through these oopsie daisy. I've just read a comment that I've just already read. Shaban says, I think Burnley finished 16th. Such a big difference between Luton and the others. Shaban, yes, they are extending the Luton Stadium as we speak. They are extending it as we speak. Anthony says, if you get 35 points, you're roughly safe. That's what it was
when you
last
say
season.
They've extended Luton Stadium, do you mean like they've opened the window in the loft?
Trust you to come out with that. Avoid injuries to keep players making home games a must-win to survive in the Prem. Luton most valuable players more 6 million. If they finish win-to-window in the first 10, their value will double at least. Yes, absolutely. I don't think we'll change our tactics completely. A few tweaks maybe, but we know what we can do, like change it. Luton, like Forest last season, are going to struggle extremely away from home, so they need to make the most of it at home. I can see Luton doing well. I think they might surprise some teams and football fans too. As their stadium still in a back garden. As far as I'm aware, I think the way end is there as well. Actually, now I'm actually going to ask you one more question. Your top scorer prediction this for your club this season. So Dan, who do you think your top scorer will be?
He's not signed yet.
Nathan Teller.
Well, if I say he's not signed yet, and hopefully someone comes in and does the biz, then it's all right. But
Weghorst, won't it?
Jesus, don't know what he'll be top of. Probably a spark or something compared to our fan base with what some of them are saying. But it's gonna be interesting on the striker front because, like I say, Obafemi's now injured, and yet we've not even seen Obafemi play up front yet. He's sort of been playing out on the wings. You know what? I'm gonna stick my neck on the line and say Manuel Benson.
That
I think he'll
is
just
very
score that
interesting.
same goal every week again, like he did this season.
I can't believe he did it like 4 times in a
Every
row.
time.
It was so strange, but honestly, I felt like I was in that Craig David music video 7 days, and it was just literally repeating. It was
7 days. What a tune! What a tune that is. Ollie, your top scorer?
No surprise to anybody who I'm going to say is going to be our top scorer. He was our top scorer last year. He'll be our top scorer
Jack
for as
O'Connell?
long as he's here.
Basham?
Oh, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think it'll be either Ndai or McBurney. I think Ndai is... He's head and shoulders our best player, and therefore he's an attacking player. He's going to be the one who has to score our goal. So, going to have to be Illiman.
Illiman, there we go. Tyler, what about Luton?
I think just to go on the safe side, I think you're going to have to go with Morris. Obviously, he was a top scorer for us last season, and I think he's a lot of the players. As much as I think they're good enough to play in the Premier League, a lot of them have got a point to prove that they are good enough. So I think he's just going to evaluate up his game even more. So Morris for me.
Morris. So we've got Benson from Dan, and Ndai from Ollie, and Carlton Morris from Tyler. Anthony says Weghorst with 5 goals. Villa TV, what do you guys think of Chong going to Luton from the skill? I've got to say, I think it's a good signing. I think it's a very, very good signing. We didn't really see him for Manchester United in the Prem. So I think it's a very good signing. See what he can do. The same means nothing. However long ago, a team from my country, Romania, player the same if I know new for a couple of 3,000 fans, maximum capacity. Wow. Turf perfect lawn is it? Stadium needs paint as well. It's not as a fairground, however, it won't be an easy ride.
Good Lord.
Dear. Roy Cropper will be top scorer. Jesus Christ. Imagine if Weghorst nods in a hat-trick against Manchester United. Oh, that would be the best shithousery. Anyway, but guys, thank you very much for watching this evening. I really do appreciate everyone who's tuned in. My big thank you to my 3 panelists, Dan from Turf House TV, Ollie from the Sheffield United Way, and Tyler from T-Boys TV. Dan, I know obviously all the channel links are in the description down below, but Dan, tell us where they can find you.
Yeah, Turf Morehouse TV, Behind a Skip, anywhere but OnlyFans. Check us out. We're all over the shop, and hopefully, by being back in the Premier League, things are just going to get bigger and better. But yeah, as it says just under a little name tag there, Turf Morehouse TV. Go check it out. Thanks for having me as well, Doug. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Ollie, thank you very much for coming on as well. Tell us where they can find you.
No, top man, Doug. Thank you very much for having us on. If anybody does want Dan's OnlyFans, by the way, I've got a private link. So let me know. I'll send it you across in the DMs. So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Beastly Ollie. Or please do follow the channel. We're at Sheffield United Way on Twitter, or we're Sheffield United Way on YouTube.
Absolutely. And Tyler, thank you.
Beastly for a reason.
Yeah, the reason being I'm about 12, and I felt that made me cool.
Tyler, thank you very much for coming on. Tell the people where they can find you.
Thank you for bringing me on. But yeah, just T-Boys TV there, like you can see. And then if you go on to my recent video, you'll find all my other links to all my other social medias there. So yeah.
Absolutely indeed. I will read these last couple of comments as well. Anthony says, good stream, big up guys, thank you very much. Diego says, well done all. Stephen C, come on you hatters. And Elevator says, peace as well. Oh, Nathan, good evening. We're just about to finish, but thank you very much for coming in. I really do appreciate it. And I will have you on the channel very, very soon, because I do actually want to speak about Cardiff City as well. True Red says, top stuff as always, lads. Thank you very much, Luke and Ali News. Have a good evening all. Yes, absolutely. So, guys, if you have missed the live stream, please do watch it on playback, and do leave a like on the video as you obviously leave the video. Do hit that subscribe button on not just my channel, but Dan, Turf House TV, Ollie for the Sheffield United Way, and Tyler for T-Boys TV. And do hit that notifications bell so you are notified every time we get an upload or a live stream as well. And Villa TV, with the final comment of the night. Big up, guys. Great stream. Villa bigger than all of you. Yeah, that is a bit of debate, let me just say. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let us know what team you think will finish higher out of these three. And the Prem, it does kick off very, very soon. But we will be back for more of these shows as well very, very soon. But from myself, from Ed Sheeran, from Ollie, from Tyler, it is good night.
Give me all you've got if you're prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall.